Hello everyone, it's Spurs Reading 96 here, and welcome to another Train Sim World 2 news video. Today, Dovetail Games have released a transcript of an interview that was conducted by an actual member of the Scotrail Railway Company. The person in question is known as Ian Gilfrin. He discusses what it's like to drive on a modern Glasgow suburban network and the experience of operating a BR Class 314. I've cherry-picked the best questions as well as the answers. So the first one is, what's the experience of a driver like on a commuter network like Glasgow? He says, I spent a few years driving at Yoker, a suburban depot to the west of the city. They say that Yoker, along with some of the main depots in London, is one of the most challenging depots due to a number of cautionary signals you encounter on a daily basis. Running at low speeds, looking after the doors at each station, and because of so many trains on the network. When you're working an early shift, you'll see a lot of cautionary signals, especially in built-up areas or high footfall areas like Patrick and Glasgow Queen Street. Delays can occur because of trains ahead, so concentration levels need to be high, because you might be running under caution at certain times. Your station stops might be altered or different from day to day or run to run. Sometimes you could be driving an express service or an all-stop service, so you must be extremely focused. Thankfully, things don't go wrong very often, but you must have a cool head and rely on the extensive training you've had. The next question is, what's your favourite station of the Glasgow suburban network and why? My favourite is Glasgow Central. It's more than a suburban station, obviously, being a main line for intercity trains going south. I just love everything about it. At night time, the approach to it is just phenomenal with the lighting and the signals that a driver would see. They are very complex, so as a driver you would need to be alert to driving in and out of Glasgow Central. When you get off the train, the magnitude of it's just such a lovely building, and the architecture is incredible. Glasgow Central Station is important to the city of Glasgow, especially to the older generation, as it was the start of holidays for many people, whether they were going to Blackpool or somewhere else on the coast. It's also a meeting place for people, greeting friends or family, and then saying goodbye to them. The next question is, what is the BR Class 314 like to drive? The acceleration was exceptional. They were fast and the brakes were different, although some people would argue that they weren't as good as what we had before. You always had to be wary, as you could be prone to wheel slip approaching stations, and some brakes were softer than others, but overall they were particularly good to drive. They were prone to rain loud whistles and drafts at high speeds coming in through the gangway door, so if you shut the wee door next to you, you would become quite cosy with the heaters on, and you didn't notice all the bad points. A couple of tips I would give to players when taking off from a station would be to bring brake down from step 3 to step 1, go into notch 1 of the power, and then release the brakes. Only do this when you have achieved power to prevent the train from rolling back or rolling forward. Don't accelerate too hard or too fast, because remember, they are prone to wheel slip because of the amount of traction motors they have. Lastly, brake well in advance of arrival into the station. The next question is, what's your favourite thing about the BR Class 314? Personally, I found the whole cab and area nice and spacious. As I said before, I like shutting the door and keeping warm, as they are good heaters. They were really comfy to drive, and you could stand up driving them as well if you got the stage where you needed to increase your alertness. You could change your driving position easily, and you also had the option to open non-drivers' side cab doors to view passengers getting on and off the train. On the driver's side, you had the option of doing that by using the cab window. The next question is, what was it like on the line around the farewell tours for the loco? The answer is, so the train went over a few routes, like Glasgow Central to Ira and back, and it also went to Cumbernauld. I drove the last leg from Glasgow Central to Helensburgh and then back to Glasgow Central where the train terminated. We took the empty carriages to Shields, and that was the last passenger service. Unfortunately, it was dark, as it was the week before Christmas. On the tour, there were lots of photographers and people recording the event. When we left Glasgow Central about 4:30 in the afternoon, there were a lot of people taking pictures or just there to see the last 314 leave Glasgow high level. Actually, last December, I was involved in taking a BR Class 314, and you had to be sitting at Yoker Depot for 12 months to Shields, and it powered up okay after a year of doing nothing. And the final question is, what do you think about Cathcart Circle in Train Sim World? It looks fantastic and really realistic. I'm particularly impressed with the cabin detail and the fact that your BR Class 314 even has a dirty front end, which they normally had. So there you go. That concludes a little bit of information on what the BR Class 314 is like to drive on the Glasgow Cathcart Circle, as well as the route itself from one of Scotrail's very own men. So, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, and please subscribe if you are new for more up-to-date Train Sim World news and content from me. Links in the description below, of course, for the Twitch, Twitter, the Discord server, and of course the Patreon page for this channel. And as always, I will see you next time. Thank you very much. Take care.